Make sure you're subscribed to Issues Etc. Type Issues Etc. in your podcast provider, hit that subscribe button, and leave us a 5-star review. This will make it easier for other podcast listeners to find Issues Etc.
Pro-life incumbents have done very well since Dobbs. Not one pro-life incumbent has lost a statewide race.
Margaret Thatcher very famously said, socialism works great until you run out of other people's money. In the Islamic system, the system works great until you run out of the infidels' money.
I love this quotation from Luther. He says, "Spare me from a church in which there are no sinners." The essential character of being a Christian is to be a redeemed sinner.
If we are Christians and we suffer, is that so unbelievable that we should bear a splinter of Jesus' cross after he has gone through so much as a perfect one?
Hospice nurses driving around from patient to patient love listening to Issues Etc.
It really wasn't that long ago when you could find, they may have been rare, but you could find at the state and national level pro-life Democrats in elected office. But much has changed, and it's become one of the biggest political divides in our country. And it's very difficult, if not increasingly impossible, to find a pro-life Democrat at the state or national elected level. Why is that? Greetings and welcome to Issues Etc. live on this Monday afternoon, June the 29th. I'm Todd Wilkin. Thanks for tuning us in. Kristen Day of Democrats for Life joins us to answer that question and several others. We'll respond to listener email on the Issues Etc. comment line. Then we'll be spending time with Pastor Peter Bender of the Concordia Catechetical Academy. Looking forward to Sunday morning, according to Luther's Catechisms in the 3-year lectionary, the 6th Sunday after Pentecost. Kristen Day is Executive Director of Democrats for Life of America, based in Washington, D.C. Kristen, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me on today.
How did the Democratic Party go from safe, legal, and rare back in the 80s and 90s on the issue of abortion to supporting government funding of abortion?
It's been a long journey, and it was gradual, but the money that comes from the pro-abortion movement has really had a strong influence over that platform and in really primarying the pro-life Democrats and really targeting them to extinction. And I think it really hit the headway in 2010 with Obamacare, when we pro-life Democrats, we had over 60 people vote against taxpayer funding of abortion in the Democratic Party when we passed Obamacare. And they were just decimated that next election because they were targeted and really attacked by the Democratic Party that next election cycle.
Is it possible to overestimate the influence of the abortion industry and Planned Parenthood in particular in that money funneled to pro-choice Democrats?
I think it's the money from the Planned Parenthood and the PAC and NARAL. NARAL changed their name. They're not only have their money, but they're able to influence some of the other interest groups too, like environmental groups taking positions on abortion, which makes no sense, and labor unions, and getting all of the other groups that should not have a position on abortion also joining the fight to target pro-life Democrats, which, again, it doesn't make much sense, but they have had just tremendous power over the party.
Is there, you mentioned to extinction, is there a staunchly pro-life Democratic governor or U.S. congressman?
Our last pro-life Democrat governor was John Bel Edwards from Louisiana, who was just wonderful representation of who we are. And Henry Cuellar and Vincent Gonzalez, both from Texas, they do vote pro-life. Not 100%, but they are with us on about 75 to 80% of the pro-life votes that have come through the Congress. But again, there's tremendous pressure from the party. Henry Cuellar was targeted with a primary challenge every election cycle, and he's been able to pull it out.
What did Texas Democrat and U.S. Senate candidate James Tallarico recently state about the Democratic Party and pro-life Christians?
It was interesting because he said, well, the Democratic Party is open to pro-life Democrats. We're a big tent party. And we said, sure, anyone can say that. Lots of people say that. But what are you going to do about it? And he hasn't done anything about it except double down on his position that even going to the extreme, saying that the Bible allows for abortion, using his religion to say that abortion is okay. So we actually went to the Democratic Convention to, talk to the people on the ground, because we were not allowed to caucus for the first time in decades last year. And again, this year, pro-life Democrats were not allowed to caucus at the Texas Democratic Convention. We had some such really interesting conversations, and, there was a lot of surprise that we were not allowed to caucus. So from our experience there, we're seeing that this minority, really extreme position that has control over the party is not representative of what the rank and file believe. Because I do believe that we will be able to caucus next year at the Texas Democratic Party if we continue to reach out and speak to the rank and file about the unfairness of this issue. And interesting enough, so we wanted to go, and our mission is to support pregnant women and make sure that they have all the resources so they don't feel like abortion is their only choice. So our message was not allowed there. But there was a table inside the convention hall that had balloons, like a celebratory balloon saying abortion forever. And so that kind of messaging is not really consistent with Democratic values when you're talking about just abortion as a solution to poverty or abortion as a solution to maybe not having support. So it was encouraging to be there in Texas at the convention, and I feel like it gives us really a good direction of the need to really have these conversations at the local level.
You publicly challenged Tallarico. Tell us about your challenge, and did he accept it?
No, he did not accept it. He's been pretty much radio silence on his claim that the Big Tent is open. He has not responded. We will keep trying to get him to answer that question. We talked to people in Texas about, pushing him to answer the question. Like, if you really believe there's a Big Tent, why were we on the outside? And what are you going to do to ensure that pro-life Democrats have a voice?
If you would expand on your statement, I quote, "Publicly, we are told we belong. In practice, we are pushed to the margins, shut out of the conversation, and treated as a liability to be contained rather than Democrats to be engaged."
Yeah, so one of our board members, in fact, she was the chair of her local party until they found out that she was pro-life. She was the chair for years. And as soon as they found out that she was pro-life, even though she was pro-health care, pro-immigrant, everything that, and pushing these issues in Washington state, once they found out that she was pro-life, they removed her and kicked her out. So that kind of message, yes, we're a Big Tent party and you can be involved, but then in the same breath, they'll kick you out if they find out your true feelings on the issue of abortion.
Tell us the story about New Jersey Democrat Aaron A.J. Oliver.
Yeah, so that's an interesting story. He's a good guy. He's in the reserves. He's a pastor. He's part of the LGBT community, and he basically revived the Democratic Party in his area and helped Democrats win. And he was building up the party there. And he came to a rally with Democrats for Life, asking the administration not to attack pregnancy resource centers, because the resource centers actually provide choice for women who are in these unplanned or crisis pregnancy situations. And again, once the local party figured out that he was pro-life, they went to battle to remove him from his position. And it was in such a nasty, nasty way. They went to the media and just attacked him personally. And eventually they removed him. They just took his name off the bank accounts, which they did, I would argue, illegally. And they just removed his name from the website and just cut him out. So he is now a Republican. He left the Democratic Party, not willingly, and now he's helping the Republicans. It was terrible. And he's such a good guy and decent, and he was actually sent to D.C. to guard the Capitol on January 6th. He was here, he's doing his job as, to defend the country and just be part of the political process.
To me, Kristen, it sounds like a zero tolerance policy in Democratic circles.
Yes. I mean, again, it's the leadership, not the rank and file, is what we're finding. The more people we talk to on the rank and file, they don't agree with this radical abortion policy. In Virginia, we have a constitutional amendment coming up. And when you talk to people and you say, what do you think the abortion law is in Virginia right now? And most people believe that it's a limit 8 to 12 weeks. But currently, we have abortion all the way till the third trimester up until birth in Virginia. Yet they're trying to pass a constitutional amendment to put that into the Constitution. But most people don't agree with having abortion in all 3 trimesters. Most people want limits. And that's where the rank and file Democrats are, but the leadership is not representing the rank and file and really not being honest with people, just using we support reproductive rights for women and not talking about the details. And the details are hugely important. And we really need to have more conversations about these details, which is what we're doing in Virginia right now, trying to stop this constitutional amendment that will just take away health and safety regulations, take away parental consent, and make abortion less safe for women in Virginia.
You say that a party that cannot tolerate dissent on one of the most morally consequential questions in public life is not stronger for its rigidity, it's weaker. What do you mean?
Right. So, we see more people leaving the Democratic Party and more people are joining. The Republican rolls are getting higher, the Democratic rolls are getting weaker, and now there's a civil war going on in the Democratic Party with the Democratic Socialists. You have that war going on, and then you're also pushing pro-life Democrats out of the party. You're losing people who will help you with the civil war that's going on in the party as well. So it's weaker when you do better by addition rather than subtraction. And right now, with this continued push against pro-life Democrats and pushing them out, and then really not being honest about what the abortion issue and what the platform and what the Democratic Party is pushing on a national level, that lack of honesty is harming the party too, because once people figure out what's going on, they're like, well, we don't support that.
Some might say that this really is a losing battle, that it's a lost cause, and that your efforts are futile. Why do you continue to work for Democrats for Life?
I get asked that question quite a bit, and I think this issue is so important, and we cannot let go, because if we let go, then it will just fall apart completely, even worse than it is now, if there's no pushback. Because we have had some victories. We have stopped some constitutional amendments. We have been able to stop assisted suicide in Virginia and Maryland and the other states. So there's a place for us to promote life within the party. We have not made a lot of headway on the abortion issue, but we, after being in Texas and having these conversations, we realized that we really need to keep fighting this fight. And particularly when you look at the Republican Party, they have done a great job on protecting life, but there's a lot of concerns right now about that continued commitment when we're looking at the abortion pill by mail and refunding Planned Parenthood. So we really do need a broad base of support of people in both parties pushing for life, and if we're going to have policies that will protect life at all levels.
Kristen Day is Executive Director of Democrats for Life of America, based in Washington, D.C. You'll find a link to Democrats for Life on the podcast page for this episode at issuesetc.org. Kristen, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Up next, we'll be responding to listener email and the Issues Etc. comment line.
Here's an easy way for you to help us contend for truth in an age of anti-truth. Subscribe to the Issues Etc. podcast with YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Just type Issues Etc. in the YouTube search engine and click subscribe. For Apple and Spotify, type Issues Etc. in the search engine, hit follow, and leave us a 5-star review. Help us inform other podcast listeners by subscribing to the Issues Etc. podcast with YouTube, Spotify, and Apple.
Lutherans for Life applies God's Word, both His law and His gospel, to all the life issues: abortion, sexual purity, assisted suicide and euthanasia, and biotechnology. If you have any questions about LFL resources, or if you want to find out more about forming a life team or life chapter, or becoming a life advocate, contact Lutherans for Life at 888-364-LIFE or at info@lutheransforlife.org.
Defending life from beginning to end. You're listening to Issues, Etc.
The church's music from the 2nd century.
Shepherd of tender youth.
The 6th century. The 12th century. The 16th century. The 21st century. The best of the church's music from the past 2,000 years. LutheranPublicRadio.org.